Hi, everybody. I am Trey, one of your average film enjoyers, and I am here to tell you that you can win over $500 worth of movie stuff. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're a huge movie fan. Obviously, you wouldn't be listening if you didn't love film like me and Jagger. And so me and Jagger, along with three other content creators on TikTok, Film Gunch, who we've had on here, Wes, who we've had on here a couple times, and then one of our good friends, Real Takes, we are all joined together doing a giveaway currently. And how you join this giveaway is you go to each of our pages. We all have the giveaway video pinned. And you'll go on to that video. You'll give us all a follow. We each account is tagged in every video, and then comment down below. Tag 5 of your friends, and if you tag 5 different friends in all 5 different videos, then you can get up to 30 entries. 30 entries. You can get up to 30 entries. So, but you're like, Trey, well, you're telling me about this, but I don't even know what I can win. Well, I'll tell you what you can win. Real Takes is donating a 4K Harry Potter collection, Blu-ray James Bond collection, I believe a 4K collection of the Planet of the Apes films, and the first 3 John Wick movies in 4K. I'm donating 3 criterions of your choice, so whoever wins get to choose 3 criterions, and we'll mail those to you. Jagger, my co-host, is donating a bunch of international DVDs. Gunch is donating Don Hertzfeld and I can't remember the other guy's name. Well, the animated show. It's a very limited edition animated sketch comedy show. He has a bunch of steelbooks of all 3 seasons, so he's donating those. And then the biggest one, Wes, is donating a region-free Blu-ray player. So, if any of those items interest you, again, go to any of our TikTok pages. Go to me and Jagger's TikTok page, Trey the Film Noob, Jagger Film Reviews. We have the videos pinned on top of our pages, so go check them out, follow the instructions. The giveaway ends when we are all 5 of us at 1,000 followers. And me and Jagger are the only ones that haven't hit 1,000 followers yet. So please help us get us there so we can give away all this movie merchandise. Now, let's get to the podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Average Film Enjoyer podcast. We're your average film enjoyers, Jagger and Trey. How are you doing today?
I am doing absolutely swell, and I am very happy to be here.
That's great to hear. We are talking about a lot today. We've got a lot to unfold. Killers of the Flower Moon, 2023 releases, Argyle. That to be or not to be, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say that Shakespeare movie, but
I mean, they do reference Shakespeare in the movie.
A lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's kick it off with the trailer of the day, Argyle.
Yes.
This movie, to me, just looks like a really fun time. But even though there was the trailer didn't show enough for me to really have a definitive opinion. I do think that it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is definitely one I'm going to be eager to see when it comes out. Directed by Matthew Vaughn, who we talked about on the episode when we had my dad on, director of Kingsman, X-Men First Class. He's just done a lot of really great stuff, specifically action. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I think it looks like an absolute blast. I mean, Sam Rockwell is in it. We got Bryce Dallas Howard. You got Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa's in this movie. Henry Cavill is in this movie. I mean, you just got a great cast. Looks like a really fun and funny time. I am quite looking forward to it.
Me as well. Me as well. You really hit the nail on the head with that one. I agree. Um, so next we're gonna be talking about our 2023 releases. Trey, I think you said that you had a bit to say here.
Yeah. So obviously, before we get into our big release conversation, Killers of the Flower Moon, which I'm sure everybody's itching to hear, I saw a couple new releases since our last episode. I watched A Good Person, which came out earlier this year, with Florence Pugh and Morgan Freeman. And it was quite good. I really enjoyed it. Florence Pugh gives a great performance. Morgan Freeman is great as always. They both absolutely carry that movie on their backs. Solid plot. It does kind of drag in some spots. It's definitely feel like you really feel the runtime in some spots, but overall really solid. And then last night, I watched the new horror movie. It just dropped on Hulu. From the theaters, so I was like, oh yeah, sweet, I'm gonna watch this now. I watched Cobweb, which is the new horror movie, a little bit on the under the radar, starring Anthony Starr and what's her name? Oh crap, I'm gonna have to look at it. But it's the
Lizzie Kaplan.
Lizzie Kaplan, thank you. And I actually quite enjoyed this. The third act kind of falls apart a little bit, but the first two acts are really good. They build a really spooky atmosphere. Anthony Starr is, if there's anyone in Hollywood that's a serial killer, it is him. Lizzie Kaplan, we get to see like kind of break out of her normal mold of a character.
Wait. Are you talking about the same Anthony Starr that's Homelander?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Now I have to watch it. Thank you.
And Lizzie Kaplan kind of breaks her usual type. She's been typecast for a long time, where every character of hers feels the same, but this was a very different role for her, which I quite enjoyed. You got to see her kind of... And I've seen in a lot of people's reviews that she was pretty bad. Like, people didn't like her. I, however, really liked her in this. I thought she did a great job of kind of breaking that mold, and she gives a really spooky performance. Jay, who's a friend of the podcast, who is one of my mutuals who has it rated a little bit higher than everybody else, also says he quite enjoyed her, so I'm excited to see what you think, Jagger. It's definitely has some real spooky moments that I really, really enjoyed. That's about all I have to say about that one, though. So do you?
Let's
talk. Yeah.
Let's talk Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead first? And I will, because I have a little rant I want to go on that I ranted to you about the other night.
Yeah. I already know what you're gonna say. I understand that this is 206 minutes. But if you have a single complaint about it being 206 minutes, then I don't want to sound like Owen here, but you clearly don't, like, you weren't made for this movie. This movie was not made with you as the audience in mind.
Yeah.
This movie is made for people that, and again, Trey, I'm not saying this as a personal attack on you.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
This movie is made for people that can put their phone away for a while, make up those notifications after, and just sit and enjoy it and take in every small detail. Because if you don't pay attention to everything in this movie, it's going to make no sense to you. We'll talk about the ending in a minute. However, I think the acting in this was incredible. Cinematography was incredible. Script, perfect. Perfect script. Completely flawless. I think Lily Gladstone gives a incredible performance. Robert De Niro playing such an ill will, cold character with this like wolf in sheep's clothing thing. Robert De Niro is a god of acting, so you can kind of tell that Scorsese uses him as something of a key in all of his movies because he knows he's not going to deliver a bad performance.
Mm-hmm.
So I might as well just put him in here because he'll do well.
Yeah.
And then he gives him the most complicated character ever written, and he just does it like it's nothing. It's great. All 206 minutes of this fly by like it's 90 minutes. And it is so masterfully made from a film perspective. And as an actor, I'd like to say that I can have a comment on acting. And I think that the acting in this is some of the best I've ever seen. And I understand that they all hated DiCaprio on set. I get that.
Oh, really? I didn't know about that.
He completely threw away his script and started improvising all of the lines.
Oh, yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah, and him and Scorsese and De Niro got so mad at him. Oh my god. And I understand that, but that's not to say that he didn't do great. I mean, he was great in this movie. I just think that this movie is near perfect. I have it at a 99 out of 100. And Trey, I know what you say. This is my Oppenheimer. This is my 3-hour 2023 epic that I want to win at the Oscars. This is my Oppenheimer. I have it at a 99 out of 100 if I didn't already say that. It's so good. So good. Trey, now you can shoot down everything I've said.
I don't want to shoot down everything you said. Because you're acting like I gave this movie like a 1.5 stars, 2 stars, whatever. I gave this movie 3 stars. That's a positive review, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say. A good film is as long as it needs to be. There's nothing that a good film is never too long, right? I think this was too long. And I want to shout out my boys on the Escape Pod. I love you guys. And I want to kind of, because they've been kind of getting ripped apart on the internet in a different way than they usually do, because their whole thing is they have pretty hot takes, and they're kind of getting ripped apart in a different way than they usually do. And it makes me sad because they're two really good dudes, and I really like they make great content. They talk about people have been hating on them because they talk about how, and this is how I feel about the film, is they talk about how the film technically is amazing, right? And the film is really interesting, but it's not engaging. It's not enthralling. And they compare it to something like Schindler's List, which I know you were watching right before this.
I'm watching that. I'm like in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
And to say that that's not a story you will follow, like I'm 40 minutes in, breezed by.
Yeah. Okay. So let me finish.
Continue.
Let me finish. Right? A really important thing for me in a movie is to be engaged and caring about the characters, right? Mm-hmm. And if it's a true story and I don't care about these characters, it's not me having like lack of empathy. Like there's really only one character in this movie that I cared about what was happening to, and that was Lily Gladstone. Anytime anybody else was on screen, I was like, I don't care. And okay, can you let me finish? I sat here respectfully and listened to you.
I'm listening.
And it's nothing to do, like, it's whatever you, if I can't connect with the characters on a personal level and I can't, like, I don't know, like, just be engaged and care about what's happening to these characters, I'm not going to like the movie. That's what happened with Grand Budapest Hotel. I still have Grand Budapest Hotel at 4 stars. I think it's an amazing, well-made film. I just couldn't get locked into the story. I just, like, couldn't, like, get... So, and that's why I want to take the conversation and compare this to Oppenheimer, right? Because these guys, the Escape Pod guys, are also out here, they're getting ripped on because they're like, oh yeah, these guys just don't know, like, that they don't know about slow cinema, or like stuff like this. Let's take Phantom Thread. Paul Thomas Anderson, Phantom Thread. It's a romance. It's a drama. It's one of the slowest movies ever made. It's super toned.
Like an hour and a half shorter.
Okay, that's fine. If it had been 3 hours, I would have still enjoyed it because I cared about what was happening to the characters. In Oppenheimer is over 3 hours long, right? I cared about what was happening in that film. I think debatably the technical aspects of that film are better than the technical aspects from this film. I think they're more impressive. Which you can comment on after and we'll have a conversation about. But it's like I saw Oppenheimer 3 times in the theater when it first came out. And the third time I saw it, it felt like 40 minutes. Like the movie ended and I was like, what happened? Like it just flew by, you know? Killers of the Flower Moon, I don't fall asleep at movies, Jagger. I don't fall asleep during movies. I fell asleep.
Did you fall asleep?
I fell asleep. That's how bored I was. So look.
There was a chance you'd fall asleep. Yeah.
Look. Technical aspects. Also, I want to say this. I am not Leo's biggest fan. I do not like Leo that much.
Neither do I, but I can still say he was good.
And I can recognize that I don't think Leo is that good here. I never think Leo is that good. I think he's one of the most overrated actors of all time. I can say De Niro was good. I can say Lily Gladstone is probably going to win the Oscar for Best Lead Actress. I can say that Jesse Plemons might be up for a supporting actor Oscar. Finally, my boy getting some recognition. I can say Brendan Fraser was amazing. The cinematography was amazing. The score was fine. Everybody was like, I've been listening to this score all day. It was fine. It wasn't anything to write home about. The cinematography was great. It definitely had that Scorsese feel. It's just like I couldn't get engaged to it. And when you can't get engaged to a movie, if it was shorter, I would have rated it higher. Because then I'm like not getting engaged for like a 2-hour movie, you know? This movie is over 3.5 hours and I'm not engaged for an entire 3.5 hours. That's a problem. For any of that, I'm not engaged for any of it. I don't care what's happening for any of it. So that's where I'm at with this movie. And I don't want people, like, you can hate on me all you want. You can say you don't know, like, how to experience slow cinema. I do know how to experience slow cinema. I do. I know cinema. I know, like, I've watched a lot of movies. And I will, like, I'm not going to, and, oh, this is the other thing that we talked about. I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like if Martin Scorsese came out with the biggest pile of like, it's literally just Leo just shitting in front of a camera, I feel like there's people that would still rate it 5 stars and call it art. Because people, they don't like his movies. They just like saying Martin Scorsese is the best. People just have a massive hard-on for Martin Scorsese, and anything he touches, they're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh, you know? It's not. He has some pretty shit movies. Like Wolf of Wall Street?
Wolf of Wall Street?
Not that good. Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street is
No.
not that good. Shutter Island, pretty bad.
But then you have things that he makes, like, I haven't seen Goodfellas, but I imagine
Goodfellas is a masterpiece. But it's here's the thing, is there's guys who are saying, like, Martin Scorsese doesn't miss. Every director misses. That's part of being a director. Have you ever seen
Stanley Kubrick?
I'm trying to think of a Stanley Kubrick.
I mean, he died after making like 10 movies, and all 10 of his movies were him at his prime.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick is the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
But like, have you ever seen Boxcar Bertha, directed by Martin Scorsese? It's not good. It's not good at all. Every director misses, except Stanley Kubrick, and probably Edgar Wright too. But I haven't seen enough to make that an opinion yet.
And then, Scorsese directed Hugo. Yeah, he misses big time.
So you don't have to be like Scorsese. I can be like, yeah, I like certain Scorsese movies. I don't like Scorsese. There's very few directors that I can say I like that director. I can say I like this director's movies. I like these certain movies, but I don't like this. Like Tarantino. I love Tarantino. I don't have a single Tarantino rated lower than a 4.5. I think Tarantino is a master. I can say I love Edgar Wright. All of the Edgar Wrights I have logged right now on Letterboxd are 5 stars. I think Edgar Wright's amazing. I love Matthew Vaughn. But it's like, I don't know. Sorry I got heated. This is just something I feel very passionate about. This whole Martin Scorsese cult. Like, yes, I can acknowledge he's one of the greatest directors of all time. But the like cult following he has, and it's Martin Scorsese fans just make me really mad.
When you have movies like Killers of the Flower Moon, Taxi Driver, Casino, Raging Bull, he's a good director.
Yeah, he's a great director. I never said he wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, being someone that has both Taxi Driver and Flower Moon in my top 100, I have Flower Moon in my 12th of all time, and I am proud to say that. I think that it is a magnificent film, but I was the only person awake at the end of the movie in my theater. I understand that this movie is not for 75% of the people that watch it, but for that 25%, I'm with you. So I totally respect your opinion either way. And I understand that there are a lot of performances in that movie that if you don't like hook onto the movie at the beginning and you gladly sit through the rest of it, you're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from. I appreciate that you have your own opinion on it.
Yeah.
And
I also don't. There was something wrong with the sound editing because you could for the first like 2.5 hours, and this wasn't just like, because I saw it at Regal. And this wasn't just like a Regal thing. I was talking to a bunch of people on my other film Discord, and they were like, "Hey, are you guys having a problem with the sound design? I can barely hear what anybody's saying." That was a huge thing for me. It was frustrating.
Well, I was in a normal laser theater at AMC, and I had no problem.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I don't know. But that's our review of Killers of the Flower Moon. Jagger has it at a 5. I have it at a 3. And also, I want to say this. I do have Scorsese movies in my... Goodfellas is in my top 20. Taxi Driver is in my top 30. I want to make that clear. I'm not a Scorsese hater. I love Goodfellas. I think that's a masterpiece. I think Taxi Driver is the greatest character study ever made. I just didn't like this.
I also want to quickly comment on your "the score was fine" thing.
It was fine.
When we started this episode, I put on Osage Oil Boom, and I didn't know you were going to bring that up. So I'm just going to quickly say the score is incredible.
It's fine.
And I listen to it unironically.
I listen to movie scores all the time. I listen to music that makes me feel like I'm in a movie. That music is fine.
Okay. It's fair. All right.
You know what is better? You know what's better? The Tron Legacy score. The Tron Legacy score.
I thought you were going to bring up, "Can you hear the music?" from Oppenheimer.
Oh, that is totally better than anything from Killers of the Flower Moon. That song is outstanding, dude. What are you talking about?
You do you.
How do I get this chair up? I want to... Oh, there we go. That's so much better. Yeah, that's our review of Killers of the Flower Moon. Can You Hear the Music is better than anything from that score. Dude, that song, like if you're like standing outside at night with it cranked in your headphones, just like eyes closed, it's like an out-of-body experience. That song's unbelievable. I listen to that song on a daily basis. God, Ludwig Göransson, thank you for what you've done, and thank you for the happiness you've brought to my life. All right, should we get into our movie review today?
Yes.
So, our movie review today, everybody. We are, I don't know what number we're on for IMDb. I think this is like
2:30 something now.
That'd be sick. Dude, we have been doing this for a long time.
Can I quickly comment that if this comes out after the Hooptober episode tomorrow, this is officially our 50th episode of season 2.
Dude, high five.
Or no, 45th, but it's still good. 45th, but it's still good.
All right. To be or not to be. That is our review today. Directed by Ernst Lubitsch. Has a 4.3 overall on Letterboxd. It is on the Letterboxd top 250 actually at number 146.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so during the Nazi occupation of Poland, an acting troupe becomes embroiled in a Polish soldier's efforts to track down a German spy. So, you have this rated a little bit lower than me. You have this at 2 stars. I think I'm going to drop it down to a 3 star.
This wasn't... Okay, here's how I'll rate a movie. If it's a movie that I'll think about after, I'll rate it highly. I finished this movie and I couldn't tell you half of what happened already. It's not memorable, and I feel like by tomorrow I'll have forgotten every single thing about it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, this was not good.
I'll
put it out
okay,
there.
I don't... So, that's 100% where I was... It wasn't super memorable, right? The genre of this movie, it's an anti-war satire. And I don't think we had gotten any of those before this. I think this was the first of its kind.
That's cool. It's
at least
2023. We're past that now.
At least no, it's the same thing with It Happened One Night. It's cool like seeing where this genre of like anti-war satires came from.
Yes. However, I think It Happened One Night was much more enjoyable, and I will still occasionally think about It Happened One Night. I just don't think this movie was that good.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
You talked about this on the Groundhog's Day episode. I was listening to that today. Yes, we do listen to our own podcasts.
We're cocky.
No, you talk about on that podcast is that you have a very particular sense of humor. I think, this humor really works for me. It's that, like, who's on first, like, old-timey type of humor. A lot of it didn't hit, right? A lot of the time, I didn't really know what was happening. But then some of it, like, it felt very Monty Python-y type humor. Very British. And some of it really did hit. Some of it, I was, like, laughing out loud. I was watching this by myself, and I was laughing out loud, which is not something I do very often. But yeah, again, it's not something that's going to stick with me. You get movies like this, like Doctor Strangelove from Kubrick, which again, more proof that Kubrick doesn't miss.
Is hysterical.
It's so funny. And I think we've talked about this on the pod, about how we are more enjoyers of anti-war films than... I don't really want to say pro-war films, because I don't think there's really a pro-war film. But, like, more films that are... I don't really... You want to explain that a little bit? I can't find the words right now.
Alright, so there are movies that are just war movies, where they'll show what's going on in the war, but they have nothing that's like a direct message that's like a screw war, with something like Paths of Glory.
Or Saving
that shows nothing but the negatives of war. Or something like Come and See, that goes out of its way and shows it has a really traumatizing moment for me, where it just cuts to a kid holding a gun, standing over a puddle, looking like his face like morphs to this complete face of there's nothing behind those eyes.
Yeah.
But complete horror, because he has nothing left in his life. He's lost everything.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to real footage of what happened during World War II. And there's a moment where they show, and not to get, like, touchy here, but if you think that this is touchy, that's weird. Where it cuts to a shot of Hitler standing next to a starving child, and he's laughing maniacally.
Yeah, fuck
That's
Hitler,
what
dude.
was happening. Yeah. And it goes out of its way to show things that make you hate war more after it's over, instead of a movie that almost glorifies the violence of war,
like
whether intentional or not.
Yeah,
Like
I was gonna say, like Saving Private Ryan, or Lone Survivor, or American Sniper, or stuff like that. That is like, it's not intentional. It's not intentionally doing it, but it's like it
is glorifying war in the end of the day. It is.
It is. Yeah. Which is not something that I want to glorify or be a part of. So in something like like Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge is a really interesting one. I don't know if you've seen this. I know it's coming up on our IMDB series, so we'll talk about it in a couple months.
Isn't it directed by Mel Gibson?
Yeah. Screw Mel Gibson. But Hacksaw Ridge, Andrew Garfield is the lead in that, and I think he's outstanding. Anything with him is great. Is a really interesting one because it's about a pacifist who saves a bunch of people during World War II. It's like a true story. And I think that's a really interesting one that can be considered anti-war.
Is it weird that it's really strange to me that... Are you sure Mel Gibson directed that?
I don't know. That sounds right. It could also be Clint Eastwood.
It could be Clint Eastwood. Because that would make more sense. Something about Mel Gibson directing a movie about people getting saved during World War II and a pacifist.
Yeah, it's Mel Gibson.
That's weird. Yeah, that's strange. I don't know. There's probably some reason for it.
Yeah.
I'll have to see it to understand it.
Yeah, that's a great film. I think is really, really well done. That we'll talk about more when we get to it in our series. Yes. But I don't know. It always brings up the topic because I'm a person who uses humor as a defense mechanism, you know? Like, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm going to make a joke out of it because that's just who I am. I like making jokes. And I think that making, specifically war satires, because I feel that's why comedy exists, is to make these things that are really, really scary and difficult to deal with and kind of dark to, like, shine some light on it and make it a little bit easier to deal with, you know? So that's why I think movies like this, Dr. Strangelove. I'm trying to think of other war satires. I can't really think of any other ones.
They do exist.
That one with Brad Pitt that came out a couple years ago.
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit's a war satire. That movie's hilarious. But that's because Taika Waititi directed it.
Great.
Yeah, loved Taika Waititi.
Shout out to Next Goal Wins. I'm hyped about that one.
About what?
Next Goal Wins.
Oh, dude, I saw the trailer for that. That looks really, really fun. I'm very excited. Yeah. I just love Taika Waititi's his sense of humor. Like, when I was like cackling the entire time during Hunt for the Wilder People. And with both, it's the one with Sam Neill. You got to check that one out, man.
I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, I don't either. Forgettable, but yeah. Should we do our questions, or you just want to move on?
Well, I mean, let's quickly sum it up. Rewatchable scene, that opening scene where the guy, like, gets, like, yelled at, like, "You're not Hitler!" That was pretty funny.
Dude, the scene where the guy who is the actor playing the scientist, and then they show him the dead body of the real scientist. That whole scene, I was giggling the entire time. I thought that was so funny.
Looks a mighty bit like you, no?
Yeah, I don't know. The facial structure is a bit different, but who won this
It
movie?
appears as such. Who won this movie? I think the director for coming up with such an inventive concept at the time.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, have you ever seen The Producers? It's Gene
Oh, the
Wilder,
one with yeah,
where they make Hitler in the Spring or whatever.
yeah.
Is it any good? I added that to my watch list the other day because my dad told me about it. Do you like it?
All right, so I've only seen the remake with Matthew Broderick.
Mm-hmm. Is that one good?
Not great, but good.
Okay.
The original I haven't seen, but being that it's Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder, probably great.
Yeah, we should do a watch party of that one day.
Yeah, but the Producers, the remake, it's totally fine, but that's all it really is.
Yeah.
I gotta
right.
get around to it at some point soon.
Yeah. Director wins this movie. They're not beating Jack Torrance in a fight.
Absolutely not.
No. And does this belong in the IMDb 250?
No.
No, it doesn't. All right, cool. That's a review of To Be or Not To Be.
Tubi! Shout out to Tubi!
Yes, we love Tubi on here. We should just start saying that every episode, and hopefully one day
Tubi kind of Tubi pun, yeah.
Tubi will reach out to us and be like, "Hey, can we sponsor your pod, or do you want to come on and do a commercial for us?" And we'd be like, "Yes, please. We love you guys. We use it all the time."
We got to do the commercial. We're your average film enjoyers, and we enjoy Tubi, and that's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah. Imagine that's like the first time we ever meet in real life is when we record a commercial for Tubi.
We're your average film enjoyers, and we enjoy Tubi.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Tubi.
Shout out Tubi.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do high lows? You go ahead first.
Yeah. All right, so my high low is pretty lame today. Groundhog Day was our last episode. Since then, I have seen Killers of the Flower Moon, which we already talked about.
Yep.
And that, by the way, we forgot to mention it. The ending, amazing. Amazing ending.
I could have done without that ending.
Then I rewatched The Shining, masterpiece, obviously.
Of course,
Kubrick
peak.
Doesn't miss. Then I watched The Big Shave because I had seen Killers of the Flower Moon that morning, and I wanted to see some more Scorsese. And it was fine. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was pretty entertaining, actually. Then I missed a movie. I didn't get to watch anything on the 21st. And then on the 22nd, I watched Infernal Cauldron from 1903. And that made me laugh because it's so old. And then it's like a guy standing over a pot, and then he picks someone up and like body slams them into the pot. And then
oh my god!
And then ghosts appear. It's it's funny. Then I watched Force Troublesome Heads from 1898. I mean, it's from 1898. It was on HBO Max. I watched it. It sucked. Then I watched Richard Pryor live in concert. Richard Pryor is a mastermind of comedy. Yeah, I have not laughed this hard in a while. I gave it 5 stars. Because it's just so good.
Yeah.
Just watch it. I mean, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
It's like
where'd you watch it?
Minutes. It's on Netflix.
Okay, cool.
It's like an hour and 20 minutes. It's so worth it.
Yeah. Hey, what's your opinion on Pete's stand-up?
I've seen all of his specials.
Yeah. Wait, do you like his stand-up? Because I love it. I think he's super funny.
Oh, he's so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
But also, it doesn't take that much for me to laugh. Like, if you're at least kind of funny, I'll be laughing. You know?
Yeah. So, have you seen the roasts, the Comedy Central roasts?
Oh, yeah. I watch those highlights on YouTube constantly. The one where Pete calls it out, what's her face? God.
And is he the one where he goes, and then it was scaring away our crops?
Yeah, because she called him out earlier, and then I think it's Anne Hesh, and he's like, Ann Coulter, and he's like, Ann Coulter is here. Wait, if you're here, then who's scaring away, or who's protecting our crops? It's so good.
And then he has a lot of funny ones in the roasts. My God. And then the one where Pete keeps bringing up his dad during, and then Jimmy Carr goes
Oh,
up
dude.
and
Hey, guys. We can't keep roasting. This is not.
dad.
We can't
This
keep.
is not the roast of Pete
Pete's
Davidson's dad.
That was in 2001. God, dude, that joke is so funny every time. Oh my gosh.
So he's great in the roasts. And then of the comedy stuff, like the stand-up I've seen of his, Alive from New York. Have you seen that one?
Yeah. That's the one where he does the Ariana Grande bit, like after they broke up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that bit.
rated that one 3 stars. But then he has another one on Paramount Plus called SMD. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
You gotta check that one.
Yeah, he's a fun. No, I haven't, but he's a funny dude. All right, high-low. I already talked about A Good Person. I watched Hostel, the Eli Roth movie. That wasn't any good. Gunch, I don't know what you're talking about, but that movie's not good.
And then he says Terrifier 2 is torture porn.
Yeah. I rewatched Ghostbusters. 5 stars, 99 out of 100. It's an immaculate film. What the? Oh, there's like a light going in and out, man. That's creepy. Nightmare Before Christmas, I watched for our pod. That episode, you can hear our review. It comes out today. Night of the Living Dead, we were going to do a Hooptober episode on, but then we didn't end up doing a Hooptober episode on it. But I still checked that one off. George A. Romero, classic. Really enjoyed it. Killers of the Flower Moon, we already talked about. I watched King of Staten Island, which was super solid, 4.5. Really, really enjoyed that. Requiem for a Dream, which our review of that will be coming out on Wednesday. I watched The Belko Experiment, which this is actually one I want to touch on for a few minutes. So Greg McLean directed this, which you're like, I don't care. I've never seen anything else by Greg McLean. But James Gunn wrote this movie. So here's the synopsis. Are you a fan of James Gunn? Because I think James Gunn is one of the best, superhero. I think he's the best superhero director working today. I mean, that's just me, though.
I do like him, and I've had Belko Experiment on my watch list for a while.
Yeah, a group of 80 American workers are locked in their office and ordered by an unknown voice to participate in a twisted game. So a lot of people I follow on here have this rated 2.5, 3 stars, 2 stars. I have this at 4. I had a really good time with it. I was pretty engaged the whole time. Just a fun 90-minute horror. Some really, really gory deaths. There's some major gore in this. And of course, there's action scenes that are choreographed to music, of course, because it's James Gunn. And another signature James Gunn move, Sean Gunn is in it. So Sean Gunn and James Gunn, nepotism at its finest. And then I watched At the Heart of Gold inside the USA gymnastics scandal. So I've been trying to work my way through a little, because we watch a lot of movies, but sometimes it's good to watch a documentary, something nonfiction, just to educate yourself a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to work my way through, Letterboxd has that top 100, Letterboxd top 100 documentaries. So I've been very slowly working my way through those. I watched Seaspiracy a month ago, which was super solid. And then this was about Larry Nassar, who was the team doctor for Michigan State gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic team and all this stuff. And it was basically about how he got arrested for 20 years of sexual abuse and being a child predator and a gross dude. And that it was really dark, but it was really well done doc. I didn't give it a rating because I don't like giving documentaries ratings. Because I feel I don't know, it's just different. But I liked it. I watched Jeff Who Lives at Home. Is directed by Mark and Jay Duplass. Super enjoyed that. Anything Mark and Jay Duplass have their hands on is great. It's Jason Segel, Ed Helms, Susan Sarandon, Judy Greer. Super fun. really, really some heavy themes too. Cobweb I already talked about. Rewatched Nightcrawler this morning. Masterpiece. Jake Gyllenhaal, I think his best performance. And then To Be or Not to Be. That's all I've watched this week. You guys can be looking out for our episode Friday. We are doing another double feature episode with my friend Kate. We are going to be reviewing both The Incredibles and Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. And so that should be a great time. And next week, as you can tell, we take Halloween on this podcast pretty seriously. We've done a podcast every single day about a horror movie, and it's been so fun.
It's been something.
It's definitely been something. For Halloween, we do have an episode coming out on Halloween. I'm not going to tease the movie that we're reviewing, but it is a horror movie. It's going to be it's probably going to be our biggest episode we've ever done. Just as far as like guests.
God bless my soul for exporting it.
Yeah, just as far as guests, we're going to have, we're going to try to have on as many people as we've already had on the pod. So, we're going to try to get, Seth back on here. We're going to try to get Wes back on here. Gunch, Jagger's dad is going to be on here. We're going to try to get Train Chug Jackie, who from TikTok, on here.
I'm working on Spencer. We're going to try and get him on here. Spencer Talks Film.
For real? I love Spencer. He's like my favorite person. We'll get Spencer on here. We're going to try to get like everybody on here. Maybe we'll finally get the elusive Real Takes on here for an interview.
We're trying to get people.
Yeah, it's going to be a big episode. We're very excited for you guys to experience it. We're excited to put it out there. Those are our reviews for the day. If you want to follow us on our socials, I'm Trey the Film Noob everywhere. Jagger is Jagger Film Reviews on TikTok, Jagger Film Fan on Letterboxd, and Jagger the Movie Guy on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter. Let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, if you're still watching this, we appreciate it. Thank you. If you want to, please leave us a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go check out Tubi. Tubi, we're shouting you out, giving you free advertising.
Advertise for you.
Yeah. Comment down below what your thoughts were on Killers of the Flower Moon. Be sure to check out our episode tomorrow, which will be Wednesday. I believe it's going to be our review of Requiem for a Dream. It's probably our most serious and,
dramatic episode.
Yeah, me and Jagger are pretty goofy on here. We have a goofy, silly time. That episode, not really goofy and silly. We have some serious conversations that I think are important, and I think it's an important film. Thank you again for joining us today on The Average Film Enjoyer, and we hope you come back. Have a great rest of your day or evening or whatever part of the day you're listening to this.